welcome back to the pod. Today we're going to be talking with John about AI and cybersecurity. We'll go over intros, we'll talk about what's new, some recent stories in AI and cybersecurity. We'll give you kind of like our take on it, or what capabilities they unlock, or what our viewpoint is on them, and then we'll try to give you some practical takeaways so that you can implement them in your organization. I'm Bryce, and Shelby is the co-host. Shelby, do you want to do a little intro about yourself?
A little intro about myself. I've been in tech for close to a decade, and I am a firm believer in tuning your SIM's rules, your detection rules.
Yeah, never-ending process. Never-ending process.
You can't just set it and leave it, right?
Oh, man. All right, we got a special guest, John, on the pod. John, you tell us a little bit about yourself, man.
Yeah, the big picture of me there. I'm John. I have been in security for 15 years or so. I spent a bunch of time at a large credit union doing all the security stuff there. Started with like the hardware side of security, so like VPNs and firewalls and all that stuff. I think I only took down the entire network there once, but
Sweet.
I don't know. Former coworkers may correct me. I'm not sure. And then you know what? That was also my only like 20-hour day working, so trying to get stuff fixed. So yeah, pretty good track record there. And then I just before COVID, I moved into startups, and I've been doing kind of the startup world ever since. And I was at Divvy during the Bill.com acquisition, and I'm at Jasper AI right now, and we're a marketing AI tool.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Yeah, John and I, we met back in the day. You were super into Splunk at the time. I remember that. And building out killer Splunk installations. And you've really grown since then. So, yeah, thanks for being on the pod, man. So.
Yeah.
Could you say that taking down the network is like a rite of passage? You just have to do it once, but don't make a habit of it.
I do feel like everybody has to do it once. Yeah, absolutely. If you haven't done it, have you even like tried?
It's like your initiation.
That's the way I feel about recursive loops in software programming. Like if you've never, or Lambda functions, if you've never built a complex Lambda function like serverless pipeline that results in an infinite loop, you just haven't done it enough, right? So
yeah, for sure.
So not that I've ever done that and racked up huge AWS bills.
They make for good stories, right?
They make for great stories. One time, we were on a red team engagement, and I checked the process list, and we had like over 5,000 processes running on the box. And then I realized that we had like dorked a cron job script, like a script that had elevated writes so we could get to root. But I didn't realize that the script was set in the cron job, because I couldn't view that, to kick off every minute. And I just let it run overnight. So like every minute it was kicking off a new, basically callback, like a new agent, red team agent, and like calling back to our LP. So I woke up in the morning, I had like thousands of callbacks in the thing, and like thousands of agents, but they're all in the same box. I got on there and like quickly did like a kill all command to like try to get rid of them all.
Nice.
I didn't think it would be run every minute, in my defense, okay? So, but...
The question is, was that a silent mistake, or did your client discover what you had done?
No, we discovered it when we woke up in the morning. The client actually never knew. I still think to this day the client has no idea. So... Monitoring definitely was not working on that box. So
then you're fine.
It was also, though, just to add a little more flavor to the situation, we thought it worked fine, so then we woke up in the morning and proceeded to drive to Vegas for DEF CON, Black Hat, right? And then when we got to Black Hat, that's when we realized, like, dude, why do we have so many agents at this console, right? This is not good. So, anyways, there's always things that go wrong in IT, right? So, we've all been there. So, not Shelby. Shelby's perfect. So, just me and John. So,
You've got to try more based on previous statements.
Yeah. People won't find out. All right, you wanna kick us off with this question, Shelby, about spam and AI?
Let's get started, John. So, with AI staying quite busy generating tons of spam and other sort of attacks, how would you say that we can redefine trust in digital communications even when a cybersecurity expert's trained eye might not spot the forgery?
Yeah, this is a good question, and I've definitely already seen this in the phishing messages and spam that I see. And I ask myself every time I open my email and I've got hundreds of unread messages that I really just don't want to go through, why is AI not fixing this problem that AI is causing? And maybe it's out there, but I haven't seen a really good AI tool to help triage through emails yet. But I think that's going to be one of the keys to solving this is the bad guys are using AI. The defenders, I think, also need to use AI in ways that are going to help solve this. I think we've probably been over reliant on things like using grammar mistakes in email to spot phishing and other issues. Really, I don't think that was ever a good test for a phish. I think it kind of worked, so we just kind of stuck with it. And so I think there are other stronger and I think more important key markers for something like a malicious email. The idea of urgency is not going to go away in these messages, right? They're still going to want to push that urgency to get you to click on them. The idea of a link that's kind of funky and malformed is probably not going to go away. Although I did think about this last night as I was reading this question, that if AI could maybe improve that too, of using AI to craft better fake email domains that are easier to get around kind of people's detection. But anyway, I think there are better signs that we can use for this stuff that we probably should have always relied on more, but AI is just kind of exposing the weakness in the way we've done this in the past.
Definitely. When I think about the security awareness trainings that companies make all their employees take, right? It's spot the grammar errors, and that's really not the best litmus test, to your point. And it never really was, right?
Yeah. And I think it probably was maybe not quite a disservice, but maybe just made us lazy in spotting phishing emails. Now, if that's not an option anymore, really, because AI doesn't have as many grammar issues, then we have to focus on other stuff. But there are all these key telltale signs of AI also, and maybe that's what we switch to in the lazy approach. The M dash that AI continually uses, even if you tell it not to, or what was the other one? Oh yeah, AI loves the word delve, and so if your email says they want to delve into a problem with you, maybe that's a sign. Although it's really only going to be a sign that it's AI generated, and since all of my legitimate emails are also AI generated now, I don't know. It's a weird world. I don't know that there's a good answer yet, but.
Right. No, that makes sense. And thinking about how a lot of your colleagues or people that you work with are going to also be using AI to write their emails as well. So yeah, it's tricky.
There's this notion that there's going to be just AI generating emails and AI reading emails, and eventually the humans will just step further and further back from the process. The question that I have there is what's going to bubble to the surface for a real person to actually read at some point? I don't think we're there. I don't think we're quite there yet, but maybe we'll get there. Who knows?
What about as far as pattern detection? One of the easiest tests for me mentally is do I know this person already in real life, right? And so that shortcuts my mind to say, okay, that's probably legitimate, versus is it the, king of Nigeria, the prince of Nigeria reaching out who I've never talked to. So maybe initial ice-breaking conversations would become harder, where you each have to establish that you are a person and that I do want to talk to you, kind of a thing.
Yeah. I do think there's room here too for some of these new tools. Like MCP is an interesting kind of context generator, right? So if you could connect it to all of your other communication channels, and then if you did have an AI that was helping you read messages and spot fraud, then, theoretically it might know some of that. It might know if you know the person, if it can summarize your text message threads and your other emails, and say, like, have you communicated with them before? Do you know, are you connected on LinkedIn? And then that could help give something a score. This is, we've had these like ML tools for years. I remember evaluating an ML tool for network incident response. I don't know, it's probably been more than 10 years ago. And the key there was giving the detections a likelihood score, right? Because the pattern matching can only go so far, and it can say like, oh, I'm pretty sure that there's an issue here, or that this looks malicious maybe, but at some point a human has to look at it, and the more context you can provide to those types of detections to kind of enhance that score, that like I'm using all of this stuff to determine that it's more likely, the better off we'll be. But again, I haven't seen any great tools for this kind of thing. So I'm just still kind of waiting for the industry to kind of catch up. Or I just need to do more research. Maybe that's it.
I think the issue is like a lot of these email like security technologies like have been around a long time, like the GPGs and things like that, but they're just so not user friendly. Like, it'd be really cool. I liked your comment about the LinkedIn thing. It'd be awesome if like a Microsoft or linked through LinkedIn came up with a way where you could just not even encrypt, just sign the messages, and then you could give higher priority in your ecosystem to any signed message, right? Like, is this message signed, and am I connected with this person on LinkedIn? If so, then move that to the priority folder, right? Like something like that would be amazing, but I'm not going to hold my breath on that. But it really does feel like we just keep chucking duct tape on this spam problem, because it gets to a good enough space, but AI is really making that a lot harder now to get to good enough. So
well, we've taken this email protocol that I don't know, was released in the 70s probably. I haven't looked at that recently, but and we just keep adding stuff to it. And there's a fundamental problem at its core that email is just insecure. It's kind of there's no fundamental protections against this type of thing. And so, we can add to it. We can add tools on top of it. We can buy other services that will help us protect it, or we can shove all of our emails at AI and say, read these and tell me what I should know about. I mean, that's kind of what Google does with their priority inbox. They try to help sort through things a little bit, but it is all just putting Band-Aids across this massive gaping wound.
I'm just daydreaming over here about the day when we're going to get this figured out a little bit. And I was thinking if we could also apply this filter to my physical mailbox in front of my house, anything that's spam, just put it into the shredder right there, right below it. That would be nice too.
What's kind of interesting, which may be related to this space, is Sam Altman is invested, the guy who runs OpenAI. He's invested in another company. I think it's called WorldCoin, but what they're doing is, in order for you to get to a verified status inside of the WorldCoin app or network, you have to physically go to one of the locations and it scans your eyes. They have this ball, and they have a really advanced eye scanning technology, so even if your eyes get damaged or something like that, you can still authenticate that it's you. And then, they're using some blockchain technology to like verify it's you. And the idea behind it is that in the future, it's going to be impossible to distinguish between an AI and a human. And so having the ability to have like a signature signed on a blockchain and having a human show up physically to the location and, verify themselves as who they are, is going to be essential. And I mean, this is something that social networks have just like struggled with for so long too, right? Like we've seen, Elon, when he was buying Twitter/X, talked about all the bots that were on the platform, but I'm sure now that he owns it, it's perfect, right? He's solved all those problems.
Of course.
And I don't know if you guys are aware. Did you guys ever use dig.com in the past, like back in the day?
Oh, I don't know if I should brag about this, but I'm what do they call it? Groundbreaker.
Really?
I signed up. I gave them $5. I used to be a big fan of Dig. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're rebooting Dig, and they're really trying hard to try to keep bots off the platform, right? And then the Dig 2.0 version, and I don't know what their strategy is there. Maybe you know more, John. But I just feel like that's a really hard problem. Make everyone pay $5. That's probably effective to keep some bots off.
Yeah, I think that was their kind of bootstrap capital that they were trying to raise, and I wanted to support it. But it's a hard problem because ultimately you're going to have some kind of token that's going to identify you, right, as a person. But what's going to stop me from just giving my bot that's acting as me that token that is the identifier, right? I don't know. And you talked about like biometric identification. The problem there is always that can never be changed. So if it's compromised or it's leaked or manipulated in some way, like you can't, it's like a password that you can just change. If they're scanning your eye, like you can't change eyes, you can't change fingerprints. And so while I think that's probably a good approach to start with, to try to get to some kind of human identification, I don't know if that's the best, because then if somebody screws with the key that's generated off your iris scan and it's no longer usable, what do? Are you just kind of out of the system now? You're like you just get pushed aside because you can't self-identify anymore? I don't know. So it's a weird future.
Yeah, I don't know either. That's going to be interesting. And also, like, it'd be interesting if it's like Johnny Mnemonic type stuff, right? Where like you could get new eyes that are robotic or something, or like someone could change their eye to be like a different pattern, right? It's like I look at your eye, I scan it, and then I replicate your eye in my eye or something. I mean, this is getting a little sci-fi, right? But I could definitely see that future coming. I mean, if we can neural link it to people's brains and they can control computers using it, I mean, I don't see, there's a lot of stuff that's going to be possible in the future. So,
Shelby, to your earlier point, my oldest daughter is getting all of that college email or the college mail, physical mail, and I'm with you on the physical side. Get rid of that crap. Nobody's deciding based on this.
Must be a smart girl getting lots of colleges chasing her.
I guess.
But yeah, those stack up. Well, what are we doing right now for account recovery if you are using biometrics to get into accounts and then you have an accident where you lose a fingerprint or you lose an eye? Everything, I guess, has to have basically a backdoor in, right? Which is another entrance point, but
I think that's what it is. Every auth system that uses biometric is just like an unlock for the actual key that exists. The biometric is not the key itself. At least that's how I understand it. And so if it gets compromised, you just kind of recreate the access to the key. But there's a fundamental flaw there that, like, if you have my thumbprint, then you have access to the key. In fact, when I have a twin brother, and when he's sometimes on it, he flips back and forth between Android and iOS, but the face recognition on Android is bad enough that I can get into his phone if I have it. And we don't look that much alike. But but the iOS stuff doesn't because it uses multiple sensors, and the Android one just uses a camera. And so, yeah, you've always got to look for that like weak link point in this whole chain, because if that's going to unlock access to whatever secret key is you're using to access, other passwords or some kind of encryption key or something, then the rest of it kind of doesn't matter if I can just unlock it with a lookalike face.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Also, just keep a good relationship with your brother. Just kidding.
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm on iPhones. I'm on iPhone, so I'm safe. He's the one that's not safe. I've got him.
Yeah, until cloning becomes commonplace. They're like, okay, we got to get around the biometrics. Just clone this human.
Well, you talk about like this gets into like science fiction. That's the problem with this stuff is that, it all looks good until you kind of take it to the ridiculous point, and then it's kind of at that point where I'm like, all right, I'm not a nation state. I don't care about solving this problem to that level. So like 1Password's great for me. I'm good. With
yeah, and I mean honestly, at the end of the day, most stuff just boils down to like an authentication cookie in your browser, right? So I think we were talking about before, like what happens if you just give the AI your credential, and we're seeing more and more, like Perplexity just launched their own browser, and it has the capabilities to take actions on your behalf, so it can just take over at any point when you're browsing. Like I was doing like a test case where I was planning something, and then I just said like, all right, then add that to my calendar, right? And then I just walk away from the computer, and it just browses over to my Google Calendar and like adds it on there, like without me doing anything. So, I mean, there's definitely like, it's going to be harder and harder to distinguish between these two. So, yeah. All right, well, ready for a pop quiz question? Here we go.
All right.
Pop quiz. In the movie Hackers, have Shelby and John, have either of you seen this movie Hackers?
Yes, it has been a while. I think I know the answer.
Okay, what do you first Shelby said she never watched it, so let's ask Shelby.
Yeah, you want to just guess?
In the movie Hackers
from
1995, what is the name of the main character's hacker alias?
I will guess Phantom Freak.
Ooh, that's a good one. But also incorrect. That's not right.
It's actually, I was between one and Phantom Freak because I couldn't remember. I'm pretty sure it's Zero Cool, right?
Yeah, Zero Cool is his handle when he was a kid, and he crashed all these computers in the movie. Yeah. So he has a different handle. I think it's Crash Override when he gets older. So
okay, I need to rewatch this. It's been a long time.
We'll do a watch party because I need to see it too.
Hackers was good. I liked it.
Okay, so on the after party of this podcast, we'll watch Hackers the movie. So
just stick around, just turn it on. Sounds great.
Yeah. All right, Shelby, you want to kick us off about this question?
Yes, let's talk about 0 days. So, if AI agents are now autonomously discovering 0-day vulnerabilities in major open source projects and solving real-world bug bounties worth tens of thousands of dollars, what happens when these same agents turn rogue? Could we be on the cusp of AI-initiated cyber wars where machines hack each other faster than humans can intervene?
Okay, I have to preface my answer to this question. I do not put much stock in the AI going rogue story. I love the Terminator franchise. Like, those are great movies. Okay, I think the concept is cool, and obviously the execution of those movies also very great. But in a real world scenario, I don't put much stock in that. So that's kind of just so you know where I'm coming from. It's fun to talk about, though. I think the most important thing is just putting limits on what the AI can do. Bryce, you talked about like the Perplexity browser being able to browse over to your calendar and make appointments for you. that's fine. But do you want the browser to be able to go to your bank account and start sending transfers on your behalf? Do you want it to be able to manage your Bitcoin wallet, or whatever the thing is? Like, for the activities that are sensitive, I just think there needs to be kind of reasonable and some limitations that just make sense for the agents themselves in what they can do. But every use case is going to differ a little bit on what those reasonable restrictions are. And so, for a browser bot, as an example, you might want to tell it like it can't touch anything that's financial services related. And I don't know what that restriction looks like. You don't give it the password to your bank account, I guess, is probably the best approach there. So I think that's in general, just like creating limits, stopping what the AI systems can do without user intervention. I believe really strongly in human intervention, that I like the generative ability of AI, but to post the content out to the world, or integrating with other systems, or doing automated stuff on your behalf, I think at some point you need to create a gap where humans are involved. To kind of speak to the vulnerability discussion specifically, I think that like the first part of this question is great. If we can have AI that's finding all of like the low level issues on websites, that's awesome. I mean, I don't think that's an industry. I was going to say that I was going to say it doesn't provide a lot of value. That's probably not true. But there's a lot of like sneaky things in the industry of like finding really low level vulnerabilities on websites. You get the same like core submission for a website a million times, and especially like startups, startups have made all these decisions of like, I'm not going to implement these controls that might be best practice just in the sake of speed, right? So there's a lot of examples like that. But if we can have like AI systems that will identify all this stuff, tell everyone what the low level issues are on their websites, and then we can kind of move on to the next level of harder to discover vulnerabilities that are going to result in more complex and more damaging breaches, then I think that's probably a good thing. Like this idea that like the more light on the situation helps to kind of disinfect the problem. So I don't know. I think it's a good problem that we have to kind of figure out how to deal with. And I don't see now. You guys can remember this, right? I guess we're recording this. You can play this back to me, like when the robots are coming for our brains or whatever they're going to do. Because I could totally be wrong, but I just don't put a lot of stock in the AI going rogue thing.
I feel like my biggest concern is not necessarily AI going rogue. It's somebody nefarious or someone who has a different priority set than us. And I know a lot of people are just trying to make the best of their existence here on Earth, right? So I try to be, keep that in mind, right? But you could see someone who is born into a situation where they don't have much financially, and they have some talent, and they figure out a way to automate AI to compromise targets, right? So I'm more worried about that scenario than I am the Terminator scenario, right? Because one, I think we're going to run into those a lot earlier than the Terminator scenario, and two, they're probably going to have similar impacts. I am really interested in this idea, though, of like things may in the next 10 years move a lot faster in cyberspace than they do today, and I think our defenses are frequently not adequate, not because from a technology standpoint that you can't do it, I mean, at this point, you can pretty much, hit an API for your AWS account and automate almost any action. Is that our human processes, really don't allow us to do that because, we're concerned about, what if we automatically respond and then we take down a production system, right? So, I think part of this too is gonna be, and this sounds like kind of a cop out, but like a holistic solution for businesses, like not just the security team getting faster, but the engineers are going to need to move to like and I think most engineers are on board with this. They're going to have to move to appear like infrastructure as code type solutions, because otherwise the business is just not going to be able to respond quick enough to respond to some type of really autonomous type attack or some type of next generation worm, right? Like we've all seen worms that have O days in the past. Stuxnet is probably the basic example. So there's several O days embedded in that worm. Now imagine somebody creates one and it's using an LLM to kind of process some of the logic on what decisions it should go down. I think first we're going to see this happen a lot in the ransomware space. I think we're going to find like an affiliate group is going to build something and they're going to devastate. They're going to conquer the ransomware market, right? And then businesses are going to realize like, okay, like it's no longer optional to do infrastructure as code. It's no longer optional to wait for a human to approve it. Like we've got to get to the point where we can just respond quicker. And I don't know, maybe I'm overthinking it, but that's kind of like the way I'm seeing maybe the next 10 to 20 years, right? So yeah.
Go ahead, Shelby.
I was gonna say, I was kind of thinking of like the mundane, so maybe not AI-initiated cyber wars, but what if, your AI is managing your network or other infrastructure and it makes a change that, admittedly a human can make. We've seen times when a human just, with good intentions makes one error in the config and boom, you've got a huge outage that ripples throughout, the entire economy, right? So, you could have more of those situations where AI is initiating it and potentially, if you don't have those like kind of checks and balances or like a record of what changes it made, it would be hard to figure out what happened, where did we go wrong? Why did this outage happen? Kind of a thing.
I really do see AI as the rising tide that raises all boats, right? Like I'm getting significant benefits from it. I'm significantly more productive and I can get my message across, I feel like, better now. We can make ourselves more efficient, right? Like we can do automated things that would have been harder before. But somebody has malicious intent and is attacking networks or trying to find vulnerabilities. Vulnerability detection is not always malicious, right? But for those, I think it's regardless of your intent, you're going to get benefits from this. So we're going to see across the board everybody getting more efficient and finding ways to get gains from AI. But I feel like that's always been true for every good piece of technology that we've ever seen. And so AI is just the next step in that.
Yeah, very true. Very true. So one thing I just want to talk about as an aside that I would encourage our listeners to consider is that, one thing that I've done in the past is I have like an older Mac laptop, but it still gets updates. And so I only use that laptop for logging into like my banking institutions. So if you have critical things like crypto accounts or banking accounts, if you can, and you have the means and you have something that can receive updates still, right? You don't want to be using something that's like has no patch cycle. But I'd encourage you to kind of like move some of those business processes as much as possible, like off your PC or off your Mac laptop and onto a dedicated device. Just because, the attack vectors are just, you're really reducing the attack surface to get onto that device if you're only using it to get to those banking accounts. But you know, I know most people don't do that, but I just feel like, yeah, you just never know, man. You never know. Like, you know, the other day there was a Microsoft through Game Pass made Call of Duty free. Call of Duty, I forget what it was, but like an older one. But attackers actually, they found a remote code execution in it, and they were getting on people's Windows boxes through a game that was signed by Microsoft, available from Microsoft's Xbox Pass on the Windows PC. And they were getting full-blown code execution on people's endpoints through the game. So it was so bad that Microsoft actually pulled the game off the Xbox Pass. So you can, if you're on a console, you can still play it, but if you're on a Windows PC, you can no longer play this version of Call of Duty. And we all know, like, there's a lot of people playing Call of Duty, man. That's not like a small amount of target endpoints. So, I mean, you just never know when there's a weird attack vector like that, that it's not like you went to some, like, cracked video game website and downloaded a bootleg version of the game. So you went to Microsoft and downloaded the legitimate game, and then you still got compromised. So, that's why I like the dedicated approach, but I know it takes additional resources and time and energy, which a lot of people won't do. So, anyways, there's my 2
That's an
cents on
interesting
that.
approach. I'm guessing you'd leave that device at home when you go to DEF CON or connect to random coffee shops.
Yeah, it doesn't actually move. It's in the same location all the time, and I don't ever take it anywhere. So, not that my house is like an impenetrable fortress. Like, I'm sure, like, you could social engineer your way in here pretty easily. But I'm more worried about the remote attacks, right? And I'm more worried about, I play video games on my PC, right? Like, I got an awesome video card. I got to use that video card, you know what I mean? So,
for sure.
Get my money's worth out of it. But, I don't want to think from... Yeah, go ahead.
I can't think of anything. All I can think about right now is how I'm going to social engineer my way into Bryce's house. I'm thinking like...
I know, I had a challenge.
Red Bull and Halo? I don't know. What would work? Like, you show up at the door with Red Bull and Halo? I don't know.
That you'd probably only need either or of those things to get into my house.
Oh, okay.
Oh, man.
Funny. All right, should we check out our next question?
Yeah, let's do it. All right. Pop quiz time. In Swordfish, with Halle Berry, by the way. Have you guys seen this movie in 2001?
I've never seen Swordfish.
Oh, dude,
No.
great movie. Great movie. I mean, not really. I'm being kind of facetious right now, but you should watch it at least once.
I'm making a list now of stuff I need to watch.
The opening scene's really cool. His monitor setup's really cool. He's got like 8 monitors, and he's building. But then the technical aspects of it are like a little iffy, right?
You don't say.
All right, in Swordfish, what is the code name of the secret government operation that John Travolta's character is involved in? We got Operation Black Hat. We got Operation Swordfish. We got Operation Ghost. We got Operation Matrix. What are you going with here, Shelby?
I
guessed first last time.
Okay.
That's true.
All right.
And I haven't seen it either, so I get to just guess too. I feel like 2001 Operation Matrix doesn't make sense, though. Although maybe it was referential. So you were going to give a hint, Bryce. What was the hint?
I had no idea what the answer was when I
Okay.
I had to go look it up again. So it's been a couple.
I feel like Operation Ghost. If I was a movie maker, like a director, producer, I'd like Operation Ghost.
All right, what are you going with, Shelby?
Swordfish. It
does fit.
Right
Makes sense.
Ding, ding, ding! Shelby wins. It's called Operation Swordfish.
Yay!
That felt too easy.
I know. I feel it's a little bit of a trick question because, anyways. So I remember they had a name for it, and then I was like, no, it can't be the name of the movie. I was like, that seems obvious. And then I looked it up, and I was like, no, it's the name of the movie. It's the name of the movie.
Oh, funny.
You guys really never seen this movie?
I don't
You gotta
think so.
watch it.
I just googled it to see. I don't think I've ever seen it.
Technical aspects are totally off, but it's got some cool scenes. And it's got a cool ending. So
Nice. It
It's
kind
not-
of reminds
it's not
me
for kids.
of I read a cool book called Argo.
oh, really?
It's not like technical, but it does have the secrecy and, you know, government scale operations. It's fun. It's fun.
Is Argo the one about the Iran operation, or what's that about?
Yeah, I think that's the one where they had
think
to
they make a-
create a fake movie.
Yes.
Oh,
I think
cool.
they made a movie about this book, right?
That's very
Called-
meta, but yeah, that sounds probably. We're gonna make a movie about a book where we made a movie that was fake.
Well, at least they're staying in the genre where they're experts. It's like we make movies about. Anyways, I don't know. Yeah.
Funny.
Yeah. What? When you? Oh, you're always reading something, Shelby. What are you reading lately? Argo?
No, not recently. I don't think I have any interesting book recommendations since last time we talked a couple weeks ago. But next
Summer's
time I
got us
will.
all. Okay. All right. Sounds good. Sounds good. Are you
What
reading
about you,
anything
John?
interesting, John?
I actually just restarted the Wheel of Time series. I have tried to finish this series so many times, and I think the farthest I've ever gotten is either book 4 or 5. But I decided I was going to do audiobook this time and see if that helps me get further in it. They're so long that I do better with long books in audio format. But I did actually just finish a very weird series called Dungeon Crawler Carl.
Oh, I've seen those books. Are those good? What's your take?
That's a hard question to answer. I saw somebody online say like they're good enough to continue reading, but there's parts of them that are just it's like so absurd. It is not a family friendly read in any stretch of the imagination, but they're okay. But I like a lot of like sci-fi books. Like I recently just listened to the whole Lord of the Rings series and The Hobbit, and that was really cool. So I try to listen to those every few years. But the biggest plug for anybody listening, if you haven't already, there's a movie coming out for the book. What is it called? It's the Andy Weir book.
Is it like the runner
where
one?
he's in space. Hold on.
Oh, no.
It'll come to me.
That's different.
It's Project Hail Mary.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
I started
He's-
that book. I need to go finish it now.
Oh, I highly recommend listening to it in audiobook form because it's very audio. There's a very strong audio component to it. They're filming a movie right now. They're probably done filming. They just released the first trailer for it just a few weeks ago, and I'm very excited. But the book is very good. It's one of the best books I've ever read. I've read it 3 times, I think, at this point. That's my solid
recommendation, John.
Yeah.
What?
I'm a big, as you can probably tell from the pop quiz questions, I'm a big movie buff. So when I saw that preview come out, especially like it's things in sci-fi, I got really excited. So
That's cool.
I'm happy. I feel like there's more money, or at least more good movies coming out again. I feel like with the COVID and the actor strike, we kind of hit a low point there for a bit, but it feels like it's picking back up. So.
Yeah.
All right. So, Shelby, you want to talk about this question or one more?
Let's get started. Okay. As AI reshapes cybersecurity jobs, improving threat prioritization for 56% of organizations, but potentially automating roles like SOC analysts, what if this leads to a superhuman cybersecurity elite while leaving the rest of the workforce obsolete in a field already plagued by skills gaps?
I do actually worry about this as a problem because I feel like where AI is really good is at the entry level stuff, and if we get to the point where these AI systems are good enough to kind of mostly take over that work, how do you get into the field? So one, I think in the short term, if for people looking to get into the field, but also for employers that have people in these roles, making AI an assistant to the person who's in the role, I think both allows the person to get better at their job and also up-level their skills and learn more things, but also multiplies their efforts in the role. And then if you're looking to get in the field, like, know how to use AI tools. Like, that's absolutely vital at this point. I can't imagine trying to enter the job market right now. It feels like it would be very overwhelming. But if you are, the best thing is be an expert in how to multiply your efforts with AI. But I think maybe in the long run, I do see cybersecurity kind of going back to where cybersecurity started, which was you start in another adjacent technical field and you move into cybersecurity. If there are no, if this kind of comes true, where there's no need for just the actual entry-level cybersecurity jobs. I mean, that's kind of how I got into it. I started in IT and then transitioned over to cyber. And I think there's a lot of benefits of that approach. If you're an expert in one field, whether that's software development or infrastructure or IT or something, and then you kind of apply your skills to AI or to cybersecurity, then I feel like you end up with a better foundational understanding of how the technology works that can be better leveraged in the cyber field. So I don't think I don't know if that's comforting for people who want to get into the field as a first step, but that's one possible way that we're going to go.
That's cool. I do fully believe that. I think the best cybersecurity professionals are the ones who have that deep technical knowledge, and usually they did start somewhere else in IT, totally. Right, before pivoting, yep. Because they've just got that foundation and they know how to apply it, right?
Yep, yeah, for sure.
Awesome.
One thing that I've been thinking about a lot lately, I've actually been doing a lot of research on it, is like you have a role like a SOC analyst, and there's a lot of different like knowledge items that is required, and there's a lot of different tasks that are required, right? So you need some knowledge to do those tasks, and like the knowledge piece is going to get like the bar on that's going to get a lot lower, right? Like LLMs are already, synthesizing basically all the information on the internet and making that a lot easier. So then, like, which of the tasks specifically does a SOC analyst do, and which of those do we think will get automated by AI the quickest, right? And not to get like too boring, but like if you go to like DoD, Department of Defense, they do a really good job of like, they have to train people up from nothing, right? They have to take like an average person and say like, I need a cybersecurity expert, and they have to get them to a cybersecurity expert. And so one of the ways that they do that is they kind of have like this workforce management system where they kind of detail a work role and then all the tasks the person would have to do, right? And so you can kind of go there and look at what they think a work role encompasses, and then you can look at all the tasks and say like, okay, this one, 5 years, I think the AI will be able to do. And like this one, 5 years, I don't think AI would ever, or like 20 years, I don't think AI would be able to do, right? And so one thing that I would encourage people, if you're like new to the field, is go look at those requirements and go through them and pick out the ones that you think aren't going to get automated by AI and just get really good at them, right? I mean, there's certain tasks that, I just don't think most large organizations are going to have the risk appetite to put fully in an AI in the next 20 years. So, I mean, maybe I'm wrong about that, but, that's one approach that I'm trying to, like, dive into. That's one area of research I'm diving more into right now to try to try to get a better grasp on this question. Because I mean, I'm hearing this question from a lot of people in a lot of different forums, and it feels like nobody knows, right? We're all just kind of guessing on, what this is going to look like. But, I'm trying to back up my guess with, data points, right? So it looks more scientific, John. So, but the reality is it's probably just as wildly inaccurate as all the rest of the guesses that are out there. Oh, man.
It's an important point to get where you understand we're all just guessing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I agree. Especially at larger organizations, having that kind of like structured approach of like what kind of things you're going to need to do. Because I've been in like smaller startups recently, you end up doing a lot of different things, kind of, trying to cover basically the entire cybersecurity mind map with one or two people. And so I do think going forward, we've said this for a long time, I feel like we've talked about this forever, but that soft skills are becoming even more so, especially now with AI, where AI can kind of serve as your technical partner in a lot of this stuff. Soft skills are the thing that's going to be really, really important going forward. Can you project manage, right? Like AI can project manage kind of, but like you still need to be able to keep track of what you're doing in your head sometimes. Can you talk to peers and coworkers, and can you work with, one of the big skills that I talk about with people who are getting into something like AppSec is the ability to talk to the development teams to understand what they're doing. I think is vastly more important than the ability to write code as an AppSec engineer. That's a kind of a controversial opinion. I recognize others have told me that. But I think that skill is maybe more important, but definitely fewer people have that skill who are in the industry. And so if you can develop those kinds of soft skills, you'll stand above others in the field, I think.
That's really cool. I think I'm going to out myself here for a moment, but to your point, I think there are different kind of roles, right? Like in a symphony, you've got people playing different instruments. Like you need your people who are very strong in the technical. You need your people who are going to help provide the like oversight and the vision, right? The more soft skills side of things. And then if you can have those unicorns who've got both skills, it's like a Swiss Army knife, right? They can do whatever they need to, and they can be more effective in those. But yeah, I saw in my role that I'm not the most technically savvy person, but I was able to talk to people across the entire business, from customers to product managers to sales and development teams. And it was really kind of cool just being able to like carry those messages throughout all the different stakeholders. But it really helped. It helped me overcome my inadequacies in other areas. But I got to still contribute in a good way.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I've been thinking about this a lot too for my daughters. I know, we all have kids here, right? And the big thing that I've been trying to emphasize with them is it's almost like regardless of your job role, you need to get really good at like marketing the value of what you're executing, right? Like kind of like those soft skills we were talking about before, like John and Shelby, but in a way where management can understand what you're talking about. And so like and this sounds really weird because it feels like you could have AI polish up anything you write right now, but like almost like business writing skills become a lot more important. Not necessarily like the is everything grammatically correct, because AI can probably help you fix that up, but can you lay out your argument, and can you justify the resources that you need to accomplish the goals? Can you understand what the engineers that are writing the code are trying to accomplish this week, this quarter, this year? And can you figure out how you can fit security into those to, try to make it a win-win as much as possible? So it's ironic, but I was sitting here last night thinking about, what is the future going to look like? And it made me a little sad because, like, when I was growing up, it was like the guy who could find an O-Day and get an exploit working was the top of the pyramid. Like that, like if this is a meritocracy, right, where that guy's like the most elite guy ever, right? And I was just thinking about it. I was like, even the most elite guy that exists today, in 10 years, there's probably going to be an AI that's better at writing O-Days than them, right? So like honestly, the technical skills and other than using AI, all the other technical skills, I feel like are going down in value, right? Because and all the soft skills are going up in value, right? So at least that was kind of my thought last night when I was sitting here. And you guys can argue that may not be a fully thought out thought, but I don't know. It just kind of made me sad. Yeah.
I think you're right. I do think there's a double-edged sword there too. That does mean that there will still be kind of that elite from the technical side that is necessary. I think that's kind of to Shelby's point. Like there's room for everybody, but I think in a more general sense, if you want to make a generalized contribution to the security program at a company, frankly, for the most part, you don't need to have those elite level skills to be able to find and write an O-Day to be successful in that role. And while AI can help you with some of the soft skills, and I think at the end of the day, it's going to be better at helping with technical skills or filling technical gaps. One, because cybersecurity is a very broad discipline. You have to know a little bit about everything, and that's really hard. And AI can really step in there and say, like, I know how a Node.js server works or whatever, but like I don't know any details about this, so maybe help me with the details. How do you spin this up? How do you look for vulnerabilities? On the soft skills side, eventually it will fall away, because eventually you're going to have to get into a boardroom, or you're going to have to present to an executive team, or you're going to have to convince your colleagues that they need to resolve a vulnerability that they don't think is important. And you can use AI to help you brainstorm about how to talk about this and how to craft maybe an email. But once you get into like in-person communication, the AI is gone and you've got to do it. And that's kind of where the rubber is going to meet the road, I think, for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's going to be an awesome future, man. It's going to be cool. So it's going to be different.
It's exciting.
For sure. You got any you got any parting thoughts for us, John? Anything you want to say before we go?
No, I appreciate this. This has been super fun. Thank you for letting me come on and talk AI and cybersecurity. This has been awesome.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming on. Thank you, Shelby, for all your awesome thoughts too. And we'll see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.
See ya. Thank you.